Okay, so here's part two of direction for the point man. Last time we talked about how do you live your life? What does that look like globally? How do you treat the people that serve you at restaurants and all those things? How do you treat your kids? How do you treat your wife? All these things matter, guys, and it's not just about all the things that people want to make religion about. Jesus is about transformation. And so part of you living the Jesus life is living a transformed life. And so, as you chewed on that, now I want to just bring you the rest of what I wanted to share with you about that. Um, I've got two more points, and the one I would ask you first is how do you pray? You know, part of being the point man is being the spiritual covering for your house. It's protecting them spiritually. So, what does your prayer life look like? Do you pray daily? Do you pray just over food? Do you pray just before bed and that's it? I mean, what does that look like? So, is prayer a daily part of your life? That would be the first part of my question there. But the second thing is this: if you do you pray like Jesus? Because the Lord said some really compelling and convicting things that really like press you, right? Like you're supposed to pray for your enemy. You're supposed to pray for those that despitefully use you. And these are really spiritual matters. I'll tell you this. I don't think that you can pray for your enemy and pray for those who are despitefully using you unless you are really praying in the Spirit and allowing for God to really like change who you are and how you feel. Because when you see like someone who's doing you wrong, like Jesus, we've got to begin to see the true enemy, because the true enemy is not that person. The true enemy is the abuser behind that person, which in some cases can be a physical person, another person, but that's not even the enemy. The true enemy is the abuser of humanity, which is Satan, the devil, the demonic powers that are all around us. And when you pray for your enemies, people who are using you and treating you bad, you are getting to where they can see truth. They can see who God really is, and they can then find the peace that you found. But if you own your own hurt and you don't pray for them, you can't be Jesus to them or Jesus in the Spirit. In other words, you have the Spirit of Christ. So when we step in prayer, we come in Jesus' name. So we take on the mantle of Christ. And I know there's a lot of stuff that I wasn't really planning on talking about, but the bottom line is that like you come under Jesus's authority and you have the opportunity to reach out to that person and change their spiritual being, to change how they see things. And that's why we can never be just relegated to be like everybody else. We've got to live the Jesus life so that we can fully be a witness to him and the transformation that he brings. Without that, we're just kind of pretending, right? And that leads to the last point, and that is, do you let your life shine so that it reaches out to people as a witness of the gospel? And that should be both in your service, how you take care of people, how you serve people, but also it needs to be in words. I know I've got a friend who always is saying, preach the gospel constantly and use words when needed. And that's a great line, but sometimes you have to use words. He likes to kind of punt to the side of just live hard and live life and all these things. My thing is sometimes you have to tell them, hey, there's a God who loves you and he wants to transform your life. So with that said, those are the final points about direction. That's how you live the Jesus life. It's by what does your life look like daily? That's the first question. What does your life look like? How are you living life? Second thing, how do you pray? Do you pray just for like your wish list? Or do you pray like Jesus prayed? Pray for your enemies. Pray for those that are treating you poorly. And finally, do you serve your life, live your life as a witness? Those are the things that create direction for your children, for your wife, for your family, for all of those around you to be able to follow. That is the first job of the point man, is direction. So find the answers for those parts in your life. I pray that you just have a great day. Go and be the point man that God called you to be. God bless you today.